Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is doing great. My name is Ravi Teja. Let's solve today's Leetcode problem 799 champagne tower. Okay, you have been given a champagne tower. Let's assume that the each glass can hold 1 unit of champagne in it. Okay, if we pour 100 units of champagne on the first glass on the top of the tower, so the champagne will overflow down, and let's say in the ith row and in the jth column we have to identify the what is the amount of champagne it holds. Okay, so if let's say we have poured 3 units of champagne, okay, so this will store 1 unit of champagne and rest 2 units will be overflowed, right? So 1 unit will be overflowed into this and 1 unit will be overflowed into this, right? So now these two can store one unit. So all the 3 units of champagne was settled in the first row, second row itself, right? So there is no overflow into the third row, right? So we just have to replicate this process. Okay, if you pour n number of champagne units in the first on the top, okay, so it will hold 1 unit of champagne and it will overflow n minus 1 divided by 2 into the respective two champagnes, right? And then we have to replicate this process again and again. Okay, if you look at the code, we have been given, we have to identify the what is the champagne in this particular row and in this particular column, right? So since queries and glasses are zero based index, so the total number of rows we will be having is query plus 1. But if you are filling, if the last row itself is also overflowing, then the champagne will overflow into the next, I mean it will fall on the floor. So we are assuming that we will be having one more row of glasses. So that is the reason we are taking query row plus 2 as the total number of rows, and the columns are also same, but we will only process up to the row itself. Okay, the row number in the columns. Okay, so initially we have poured all the champagne units in the topmost glass, which is in the 0 by 0 grid. Okay, now we'll process all the rows, and in the columns will process, if you see this is the 0th row and it will contain only 1 unit, one glass. This is the first row, it will have two glasses which is 0 and 1. Okay, if you see the column up to which we have to process in a particular row is equal to is same. Okay, if we are standing in the r row, that means we have to process all the way up to the column of r. Okay, so that is what I am doing here. Okay, if the cell in which I am standing, if it contains champagne which is greater than 1 unit, that means it will overflow. So I am just calculating how much it can overflow. So 1 unit will be settled and rest will be overflowing. So the overflow champagne will be split equally into two parts. So if it got overflow here, it will overflow into this particular glass and this particular glass equally. So if I am in the rth row and c column, the champagne in rc will flow into r plus 1 c and r plus 1 c plus 1. So that is what I am doing here, and then I am setting the champagne in the current grid as 1. Okay, once this entire process is executed, so we can straight away return the dp of query row and query glass. If you submit this, all the test cases will be passed and it will be pretty efficient solution as well, as you can see. So if you analyze the time complexity and space complexity, the space complexity is basically if there are r rows, okay, the space complexity will be order of r square, and the time complexity is also order of r square, because we are trying to populate this grid in the fashion of r into r, right? So that's all about this problem. If you like the explanation, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't miss to share your valuable feedback in the comment section. I will be posting this solution in the description. You can feel free to check out. Thank you.